In this video, we'll introduce three properties of logarithms. And the first is called the product property, which goes like this. If you have a logarithm with any base a, and the argument part is a product, here we will write it as m times n, then you can write this logarithm as the sum of two logarithms. Both of them will have base a, and one is with the argument of m, the other is with the argument of n. So you can write one logarithm as the sum of two logarithms if your argument is a product. The second property is called the quotient property. If you have a logarithm with the argument part as a quotient, here we'll use m over n, which is a quotient, then you can write this one logarithm as the difference of two logarithms. And first one is log with base a of m and minus log with base a of n. Quotient property. The last property is called the power property. So again, if you have a logarithm with any base a and your argument is in the form of a power, here we'll write m to the power of r, then you can move this r to the very front and write it as r times log with base a of m. And this is the power property. Now I'm going to give you some examples. If we have a logarithm, log with base 2 of 8x, we can use the product property to write this as the sum of two logarithms because the argument part is a product. So you can write it as log with base 2 of 8 plus log with base 2 of x. I could have stopped here, but I couldn't help noticing that log with base 2 of 8 is actually a number. What number is it? That is 3, right? So the final answer will be 3 plus log with base 2 of x. Another example. If you're given the sum of two logs, log base 5 of x plus 1 plus log with base 5 of x, we can use the product rule to write this expression as one log. It's kind of like we start from the right side of the property and we will move to the left side of the property. So using the product property, since they have the same base 5, this is equal to log with base 5 of, we can multiply the two arguments together. So x plus 1 times x. And if you want, you can multiply. You will have log with base 5 of x squared plus x, but you don't have to. You can just leave your answer either like this or this is good too. Now let's look at this example. We're given a single logs. We can use the quotient property to rewrite this expression because the argument part of this log is a quotient. So we can use the quotient rule to write this as log with base 3 of, on top is 4x, minus log with base 3 of x plus 5. Wait a second, I can apply the property one more time. Well, the product rule one more time to further expand this expression, because here we have a product here. You have log with base 3. You can write this as 4 plus log with base 3 of x. That's the use of the product rule, minus log with base 3 of x plus 5. Okay. If you're given this expression, you can use the quotient rule to write this as a single log because they have the same base 6, log with base 6, and you can write the new argument as a quotient, x over x plus 4. That's an application of the quotient rule. Next example. If you look at this logarithm, you can use the power rule to rewrite it to move the 5 to the very front because of the power property. Now let's look at this expression. If I ask you to write this expression as a single log, first thing we can do is use the power rule to move all the coefficient of each log as the power of the argument. So first log can become log with base 3 of x, let's move to here, not in front of the 3. So let's move to here. X squared. Okay, the second logarithm will become log with base 3 of x plus 1 to the power of 1/2. And we know the power of 1/2 actually means square root. So I'm going to rewrite it. I'm going to rewrite it as square root of x plus 1. Last but not least, here I'm going to move the 5. So minus log with base 3 of x plus 2 to the 5th power. Okay. Now we can use the product rule to rewrite these two, to combine these logs together, because we have addition here. I know I can use product rule because they also have the same base. So log with base 3 of, I can multiply the two arguments, x squared times square root of x plus 1. That's the new argument, minus log with base 3 of x plus 2 to the 5th. Okay, now we have two logs, right? The difference of two logs, actually. And we can use the quotient rule to rewrite this expression as log with base 3 of, and the two argument part will become the quotient, right? So you will have something divided by something, and the first argument will go on top, x squared times square root of x plus 1, that goes on top, and the second argument will go at the bottom, x plus 2 to the 5th. And now we write the original expression as a single log using properties of logarithms. And this is the end of this video, and I hope you understand the three properties of logarithm better now. I'll see you in the next video.